Rams Packers, obviously first game of the weekend. I'll be brutally honest. I mean, people are chirping me on Twitter. They want proof of me betting the Rams. I've been getting asked by even my cousins about, do I actually like the Rams? People are asking for stats, and you know what I did this morning? I grabbed a coffee and started to actually get in the stats. So stat guy Jer is back. I don't usually come out with stats, but when I do, I would like to look back at my record because it's probably close to 1-0. But here we go. Okay. Green Bay has not faced a top 10 defense in the past 11 weeks. Okay. You say they played the Colts and Bears, but I have a source that has the Colts at 11 and the Bears at 12. Now, people are questioning that. AKA Jackson is questioning that rank.
I'm also questioning that.
This source comes from the shoppers outside the street. The guy standing out front of the shoppers. That's our source.
They've only played 2 top 10 defenses this year, the Bucks and the Saints, and we all know what happened when they faced the Bucks. It was a shit game, and the Packers got their ass kicked. And then the other time they played top 10 defense was the Saints, which they won. So I'm not saying anything bad about that. Obviously, we know their top O-line is missing, which is obviously a big hit. Now, let's go into, that's just defense, who they playing, strength of schedule. Packers receiving. Now, Sandy, you'll be the first one to admit that they are reliant on Devontae Adams. I mean, 1,300 receiving yards this year. The next closest is Marquez with 690, which ranks 56 in the NFL. He's a 52% catch rate. Do we think that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to him in the playoffs? There's no way.
Yeah, just looking at it, I think that's a good take, Jaron. Obviously, my biggest thing, watching the draft last year, and I was fucking so angry just watching them pick Jordan Love in the first round when they could have had a lot of these receivers, like the Brandon Ayuks of the world. Like, imagine Brandon Ayuk on the Packers as the number 2 guy this year. Like, that's Aaron Rodgers would be, I mean, he already had one of the years of his career, but I would just say that would make his year even better. But watching MVS this year, you brought him up, and I think you're on a good point there. He has the worst catch rate in the NFL. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's the lowest.
It's got to be up there.
He drops I could name it like off the top of my head, probably 5 or 6 deep post balls that are touchdowns that he dropped, like 50+ yard plays that in the playoffs, in the regular season might not have changed the game, but in the playoffs, those are going to matter. Right. So I think it's a good take there. I will say though, I think the matchup, you said it on Instagram yesterday when we threw up that video, I think it's going to come down to Adams versus Ramsey. That's going to be an unbelievable matchup. I do think, though, that the Packers will have some tricks up their sleeve, like the Bob Tonyans of the world. That guy, I mean, I don't think anyone in the fantasy universe thought that guy was going to have as many touchdowns as he did. The way he performed, I think he'll be, a dark horse for the Pack this playoff run. But other than that, MVS has stepped up a bit, but he still has those crippling drops that you can't even forget. So, honestly, the Rams defense, number 1 in the league. I watched them last week. The main reason I love the Rams against the Seahawks is because of that defense. I love Cam Akers as well. They have a good run game, but I mean, you saw what the Packers defense did to Derrick Henry. I know it's in Green Bay, the frozen tundra. I like those factors playing in our favor, obviously, coming from a team from LA, but ultimately the Packers defense has played better than they ever have over the last 5 years in the last back half of the season here. So I'm really liking what we're doing. Our corners are so young. Jair Alexander is one of the best in the league. Darnell Savage is playing unreal too. And Adrian Amos, who was a big pickup for us a few years ago, is playing well. So I like our secondary. It's just going to come down to, can we develop the run game? I think that's the biggest point I talked about last night when I went on a podcast is if the Packers can't get this run game going, the play action won't be there, all that other stuff. So I think a big goal for the Packers early on will establish the run game, work that play action. And then from there, it's going to be Rodgers, Adams, and he'll work some deep balls to MVS. And, even Lazard, I like Lazard, playing well. He's not going to be, a big number 2 guy, but I think him and MVS are going to have to step up in this role this postseason to really make a run at it. So that's my take on, what I think we need to do.